When people first start working on a new skill, being part of a new community, being, adept at doing something new, they're often very concerned about missteps, making mistakes. And that's, understandable. In fact, I was just in a session with a couple of peers, and the question was asked, what's the biggest mistake you made when you first started doing this work that you would wave somebody off of, that you would warn them about if they're getting started in what we're doing as performers? So let's talk about that in this episode of the VO Heroes podcast. So the nitty-gritty here is that there are tons of things you can do wrong and a whole bunch of things you can do right as you're just getting into the business. Even after you've been in it a while, there's that honeymoon period where everything is possible, and who cares if you make mistakes, and it'd be great if you could, figure out how to do things better, but, get messy. I advise people to do that. The one thing that I came up with when I was asked to answer that question in this session was very simple. Don't overspend. Don't spend money. Don't throw money at problems, especially when you're first getting started. The biggest mistake I see people making when they first start off as voice talent, when they first start off as actors, as writers, is they buy the most expensive gear, the most expensive software, the most expensive and deep dive courses, some of which they're not even ready to acquire in terms of the benefits of those products, whether they be hardware or software or training. And in fact, I spent thousands of dollars. I was actually kind of lucky because when I was working in syndicated radio, CBS spent $30,000 on my home studio back in the day. And I didn't have to spend that money. But when I think about it, I've spent money on really expensive microphones, really expensive software, training that I went into with all the best intentions but wasn't ready to understand the nuances of. My advice is don't make the mistake of throwing money at a problem, because especially in the beginning, you don't know what you don't know, and the solution that a very expensive piece of gear might provide might not be a solution that you're ready to benefit from. So that's one of the reasons that we give our students the microphone that we give our students. It's the microphone that I use now. I don't use the really expensive microphones that I have. I don't need to. And in some cases, microphones are really, really weird animals. And just to take that as an example, you could buy a microphone that is too good for your space. And you're playing catch up trying to get your space to be quiet enough to allow a Neumann U87 or an MKH 416 from Sennheiser to do its best work, but you don't have the environment in which it can. So again, that's the bottom line. Don't overspend. You want to slowly work up to the point where you can acquire the knowledge that allows you to take advantage of what a more expensive piece of your system might afford you. So I wonder what mistake you look back on and go, God, I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I'd just taken it a little bit slower. We talked about in the session doing your demo too soon, trying to go after an agent too soon. But I'd like to know what you think. What are the things that if you could go back in time and do it over again, especially for those of you who have a little bit of experience under your belt, let me know in the comments below. What mistake would you wave somebody off of? Maybe not getting training soon enough, thinking you could go on YouTube and research it there and use Google, and that's all you need to do. You don't need to spend all that money, right? So I wonder, let me know in the comments below. Be kind. If you're on voheroes.com, that's what I'm talking about, is the comments below there. You can hit the like button if you like what you're hearing. You can subscribe to the channel. You can click the notification bell and be notified when the next episode in this series comes out. I'd love to have you. I'm David H. Lawrence the 17th. I thank you so much for watching and for listening. And I will see you in the next episode of the VO Heroes podcast.